At this point in the year, most people have set goals and failed. The vast majority of people's New Year's resolutions have been thrown out the window. And what you probably didn't realize is because you're setting so many goals, it's killing your progress. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow and I go by The Mengineer. I make videos on how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. Setting goals is a common trend on this channel, but a pretty common issue that people run into is that they set goals and they end up never achieving them. So it comes down to this question: is setting goals actually killing your progress? So in this video, I'm going to be covering several ways that setting goals could actually be hindering you and your progress. And at the end of the video, give you my opinion on whether or not you should actually be setting goals. If that sounds interesting to you, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to join me along in this self-improvement journey. There's several different ways that setting these goals are actually hindering your ability to progress towards what you want out of life. In my opinion, these fall into two different categories. There's the obvious ways that you're setting goals incorrectly, and then there's the less obvious ways that goals are impacting you and your ability to do more. First, we're going to cover the most obvious. Coming in at number one is that you are setting too many goals to begin with. A very common problem that people run into is they just set a lot of goals at once. They want to improve their health and fitness. They want to improve their social life. They want to get better at work. And all of this is done at once. The unfortunate thing with this is that because none of those have actually become something that they are consistently working towards, it becomes overwhelming and they get burnt out in the process. The key here is that you want to try and focus on only one or two key goals at a time and really give it some dedicated focus. In my opinion, what you should do is aim to build consistency on working towards those goals. Once you've built some consistency on working towards a goal from anywhere from 30 to 90 days, then you can move on to the next step where you add an additional goal. If you try to tackle too many things at once, you're not going to be able to stay consistent with it because you've never had that habit of consistency in the first place. So that's going to be the first way that setting goals is killing your progress. Next, if you make a goal that is way too challenging for you, it's actually going to reduce adherence to it in the long term. For instance, let's say that you want to set a goal for learning guitar. And so you decide that you're going to practice guitar for an hour every single day. Well, for someone that is just starting off, this might be a little too hard to begin with. First off, you haven't really built the muscle memory to really know where your fingers go on the guitar. And additionally, you haven't even built up calluses on your fingers, so it's actually going to be causing you physical pain. When you first start learning something, it's going to take some really dedicated and intense focus on that. So you'd be surprised that it might be pretty difficult to focus on something for an hour at a time. Do this repeatedly day after day, and eventually you're going to get busy, you're going to put it off to the side, and then you're not going to pick it back up again. I've personally had this happen back in college when I was trying to fit exercising into my schedule, so I told myself that I was going to get up at 4:30 every morning. I kept this up for about 2.5 weeks, up until my sleep schedule ended up causing me to have a migraine and I dropped out of it. It was a really difficult goal to achieve at that point in my life, and because it was so difficult, I didn't end up sticking with it. Again, the key here is that you want to set something that is just challenging enough, but is still attainable for you and that you can do consistently. And finally, the last way that is more obvious for ways that goals are killing your progress is you've set a goal, but you have no accountability or plan of action. Tons of people set these just generalized goals, but they actually have no way of keeping themselves accountable or having a path towards that goal. If you never sit down and actually establish some stepping stones for you to get to that goal, then the goal is kind of just an empty promise. It's just way off in the distance, something that you're hoping for. For example, let's say you have a financial goal of saving $5,000 by the end of the year, but you never actually take the time to sit down, look at your budget, look at your spending, so that you can actually set aside money each month. Because you never took the time to examine where you were at and establish a way for you to have that money set aside, then of course you're never going to achieve that financial goal. It's just an empty hope that you'll get there. I know for me, when I first started getting into fitness, Having a gym partner actually helped keep me pretty accountable, because if I skipped a gym workout, then I not only was letting myself down, I was letting my gym partner down. By having some accountability, it's going to help keep you moving towards that goal. So when you set goals, make sure you have accountability and a plan of action. So now that we've got some of the more obvious things covered, let's jump into the less obvious. First off, you might be setting goals and becoming way too focused on them. By setting a goal that is too focused and specific, you might be missing out on the bigger picture. This could cause you to miss out on important aspects that could help lead you towards your greater overall goals. For instance, let's say that you're going to try and grow a YouTube channel. And in order to try and grow it, you decide that you are going to put out 3 videos a week. That's a challenging goal, but you really buckle down, get those videos filmed, edit them all out, and you get 3 videos out per week. Now, the issue that you might be running into here is, how good is the content? Are you putting out quantity over quality? Is the content actually adding value to your audience? In working so much to put out content, are you actually losing the connection with your audience? In your effort to pump out more content, you might be losing your connection or creating worse content overall, which could actually lead to the decrease in growth of your channel. You might have thought that your goal was setting you up for success, but because you dove so deep into it and you failed to ignore all the other factors that come into play there, it actually resulted in the detriment to your goal. So make sure that when you're setting goals, you're thinking of the bigger picture and how this is going to help move things and other things that you need to make sure that you're taking into account. Now, this next one is going to be a little bit interesting. If you are setting goals that are outside of your reach, setting goals could actually lead to increased risk-taking and unethical behavior. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes taking risks is something you need to do. Sometimes the people who see the greatest success in life are those who took the leap and took the risk. However, that was risk that they managed. They didn't put themselves in a position where they were flat out broke. But let's take a look at this in real life. To do this, we're going to take a look back in 2016 at a bank called Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo had set incredibly high sales goals for its employees at the bank. Lo and behold, a few months later, people started noticing that they had accounts opened in their name. As more and more reports of these accounts came in, it was slowly discovered that Wells Fargo's employees had opened thousands of savings and checkings accounts in people's names fraudulently. And this was largely due to the unrealistic sales goals that Wells Fargo had been submitting for its teams. Because those goals weren't actually attainable, the employees started resorting to fraudulent activity in order to meet those goals. This culture was then only supported and maintained by the higher ups at the company. Of course, once this was discovered, the repercussions were immediate, and Wells Fargo is still trying to repair its reputation today. Whenever you're setting a goal, you do want to make sure that it is appropriately challenging. But if it is something that you're never realistically going to hit, and it's making you think about taking some risky actions or doing some unethical things, then you really might want to reconsider. Be careful about setting goals that are too lofty and high and blindly pursuing them without thinking about the risks or behaviors. All right, so do I recommend that you set goals? Of course I recommend that you set goals. Like, my whole channel has tons of videos on goal setting, but maybe let me give you some advice on how to avoid those common pitfalls that I just mentioned and help move you in the direction that you want. What you're gonna wanna do is set goals that align with your values and focus on a few key areas. You can do this by trying Warren Buffett's 5-25 rule, which means go ahead and write down the top 25 goals that you have for your life. Once you have those written down, you're gonna wanna go ahead and figure out what the top 5 that you would like to achieve are. Circle those and highlight them, make them important. Now that you have those top 5 highlighted, you're gonna just wanna forget about everything else and focus really intently on those 5 goals. Like I said earlier, having too many goals makes it really difficult to really achieve any of them because you're pursuing so many things at once. So this rule helps you to focus in on really what's most important to you. People have a bad tendency of making goals that don't really align with their true values and letting other goals fall to the wayside. If they don't align with your own personal values and you're more just doing it to, say, keep up with the Joneses, then you're gonna have a lot harder time sticking with that goal. Another exercise you can try is writing down all the goals like I mentioned earlier. But then next to each goal, write your reason why you have that goal. First off, you're gonna notice several of them you can't write a reason down why you want to have that goal. Obviously, those are not that important to you, so just go ahead and get rid of them. Next, out of the ones that you did write down reasons why, ask which one of those whys really aligns with your personal values. For example, I have a personal financial goal of having financial independence. And the reason I have that goal is because it aligns with my values of family coming first. I want to be at a point of financial independence because I never want to miss an event of my kids because I couldn't say no because I needed to make more money. That goal is strongly supporting my value, and those are going to be the goals that you should really go after with the most focus and you're most likely to stick to. But that's going to bring us to the end of today's video, guys. If you found the information in today's video to be helpful or informative at all, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to join me in this self-improvement journey. If you have any of your own thoughts, ideas, or opinions, please be sure to leave a comment down below. I like to read and respond to all of them. If you're interested in more videos where I talk about goal setting, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about the goal of making learning a habit. If you're interested in more of my most recent videos, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is the Mengineer, signing off.